What's up, guys? I recently picked up a new Ruger 1022, and the only reason I bought it is because the stock was just absolutely beautiful. It was one of the custom carved stocks. My dad has one that's got a alligator on it. His wife has one with a wild hog, and now I have a largemouth bass. It is just beautiful, and I had to have it. Now this came with a blued barrel, which I swapped out with my stainless barrel with the scope and everything on it. And problem is now this thing is just too nice and pretty to be dragging around out in the woods, getting all scratched and scarred up. So that left me with a problem. I need something to drag around in the woods that I don't mind getting scratched and scarred up. As I mentioned, it came with a blued barrel, which I put in the stock that I already had, that my stainless barrel was in. And I really liked the look of the black receiver with blue barrel in this stock. But I decided to have a little fun anyway. Check out what I got. I've got my ATI Strikeforce Stock. It's got an adjustable folding stock. I have a XTS tactical bipod that goes on a Picatinny mount. This is my optics Picatinny that came with the rifle. I never got around to putting it on. Might as well do that in this video. This is a Vortex Crossfire red dot that I already had. It has never been on a gun yet. My Ruger BX trigger and a Ruger 25 round BX magazine that I already had, but it's going to look pretty sharp on this build. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is install this factory Picatinny to the top of my receiver, because it's going to be the quickest and easiest thing to do. So there's 4 tiny little flathead screws. I need to go ahead and pull them out. And I'm going to try to keep up with those because you never know if maybe I'm going to need them one day. Alright, so the Picatinny comes with 4 small little screws. I'm going to go ahead and install those. Put just a touch of blue Loctite on. Alright, so that's done. Now I'm going to take the barrel and receiver off of this stock. So to do that, all I'm going to do is loosen that one bolt, which in this case it turns out it is a 4mm Allen wrench. Go ahead and get that out of there. Alright, I got it loosened up. So now it's ready to come out. I want to take my safety and kind of put it in the middle. Half on safety, half off of safety. That's going to allow it to slip through here. So it should pop right on off now. And it does. So there is our barrel and receiver outside of stock. Let me get that string off of there. Okay, I kind of read ahead in the instructions for the new stock, and it says that I need to use my existing stock from my current stock, so I'm going to see if I can get that off of there. Easy enough. I'm going to set that to the side so I don't lose it. Alright, so let's open this up. See what we're cooking with. Alright, bubble packaging. Everybody loves this stuff. Nice. Okay, so you got the main part of the stock there. Got the buttstock, cheek rest, we have instructions. I'm going to take these out because I've never installed one of these. And we've got a few extra side Picatinnies and other stuff that I'm not quite sure what it is yet. Okay, so lots of Picatinnies. I got one looks like a 4-inch and 3 or 4 2-inch. Now it's got options for the 2 on the sides and 2 on, well, I'm sorry, 2 on the bottom and 2 on the sides. So let's go ahead and install those while we're already here. These all do come with screws and everything you need. Alright guys, so I went ahead and pre-installed these Picatinnies because there's lots of nuts and bolts and it was kind of tedious, but these things are pretty well self-explanatory. Now this did come with 2 extra 2-inch Picatinnies, and that is for if you want to use a sling on this. It did come with the pins, and you can add the pin in the center of that and you'd have 2 rather than the 1. I don't plan to use a sling on this, so I just went with the full length one for now. If I ever decide that I want to put a sling on it, I can easily change this out. Just pop that off of the barrel and a couple bolts and nuts. So I'm going to set this to the side because I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Before I go any further, I want to go ahead and swap out that trigger. Okay, to swap this out with the drop-in BX trigger, there are 1, 2 pins that we need to remove, and this will just fall right out of there. Every now and then they get a little bit sticky, so you might have to give them a little love tap with a hammer and a punch. Sometimes they just drop out. Other times, like when somebody's trying to do it on camera, they want to be stubborn. So let's go ahead and knock that out of there. That popped right out. Don't lose these, because you will be in a little bit of trouble should you lose them. See, that one's being a little stubborn, so I'm going to give it a little tap. And it pops right out. And set those to the side. Boom. That comes out so easy. So now I'm going to get my new BX trigger. It comes with a little gray plastic protector on there. That way you can test fire it and you don't screw anything up. Just push that down, pull the trigger, push it down, pull the trigger. This has a, I believe it was 2.5 to 3 pound pull, whereas the factory is, I want to say between 7 to 10. I can't remember for sure, but it's a lot more. Let's get that gray plastic protector off of there. Alright, so there you have it. It's just going to drop right in there, and those 2 pins that you pulled out earlier, you're going to put them right back in. give them a little bit of tap. Get them properly seated. There you have it. So now we are ready to put this in the stock. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this upside down and make sure my trigger, or my safety rather, is kind of right there in the middle. And just drop this over it. Alright, so there it is. Now I need to take my original takedown bolt, put it in there, and lock her down. There it is. That's the first part. Now we got all the other stuff. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and put my cover on here. Before I close it up, I'm going to give it a little wipe down with some rim oil, just because I'm closing it up and I've had my hands all over it, and it is a blued barrel, so a little preventative maintenance there. Alright, now I have that, and it's going to go right on top here. I'm trying to get it past that sight there, which I may need to fold it down. There we go. Got a long screw there, and you got a short screw. The long screw is going to the back right here. Short one to the front. Let's snug them down. Make sure this one gets started. Alright. We are cooking with grease. When I say long screw, I do mean long screw. That thing is very long-winded. Let's cheat a little bit. There we go. You don't want to get too tight. Just kind of feel it out. If you go too tight, you stand a chance of stripping out those threads, which is just a bad day for everybody. Alright. There you have it. That's the first portion of that stock. So now we got to assemble the buttstock. Okay, so now I'm ready to install this cheek rest. And in order to do that, it comes with two little clips, little mounting clips. Now as you can see, they do have a unique shape. They are going to fit right in there. They can only go one way. Now, in order to do that, there's a little slot right here that a nut needs to go into, and also there's a slot there and a slot there. All of these, as well as over here, there's a nut slot there and a nut slot there. There's only two on here, three on here. You need these nuts in there, otherwise you're not going to tighten anything up. So you just drop them on in there. There's one. There's 2. 3, 4, and I've already got the 1 in there. Okay, so now I'm just going to take it right there. Make sure you put those nuts in first, because you won't be able to get to them once these are installed. Alright, goes together just like so. Now there's 1 screw. It's the only screw in this whole box. It's kind of a flush screw. Gonna put that right there. And unfortunately, this kit came with an Allen wrench, but it didn't come with the one for that. But luckily, I don't throw anything away, and I had the right one in one of my old optics boxes. Got that good and snug. There you have it. So now that is installed. So now my cheek rest can go on there. And you see it is slotted on both sides. That's where those 4 nuts come into play. Slide that over, which on the inside, I don't know if you can see it, it does have somewhat of a dovetail system going on to where it's going to slide on there. I don't know that you would call that a dovetail, but for lack of a better term, I'm calling it a dovetail. Alright, so we got that on. Now there's going to be 4 screws, which, as luck would have it, I have exactly 4 screws left in my kit, which the screws didn't come in here. I put them in there so I didn't lose everything. Like I said, I throw nothing away, so I had this empty Weaver scope ring box, perfect for this. Alright, so there you have it. Now you don't want to really tighten these down too much until you figure out what position you want to have this in, either all the way down or all the way up or somewhere in the middle. Which you'll just have to play around with it, take it out to the range and see what works best for you, and then lock them on down. So now we need to install this on the rest of the stock. Okay, so now it's time to install the buttstock back here, and the instructions do say to start in the folded position, which you got that little button right there that you push to get it to lock in place whichever direction. So that would be the folded position. Okay, so I'm going to stand this up, and you can see down in there are those little slots, which I only see 1 tab, so I guess maybe some people are putting that on upside down, which makes no sense, but I'm going to put it on the way that makes sense, just like so. I'm going to see if I can feel when it hits that little tab. Well, I guess it's in the proper position because it's bottomed out. So now I have this one big gnarly bolt. That is going to go right back there. Right into that hole. It's threaded on the receiver end, and by receiver I mean the tube. Now I'm going to need a bigger screwdriver. Well, as luck would have it, I've got one on my drill. Let's do this the lazy way. Alright, she is in. I'm not really sure if that was the lazy way or the smart way because that was pretty tight. Alright, so now that is installed. Check it. Boom. That is pretty sweet. And you can also extend or shorten that to whatever you want. Pretty cool. Alright, so next I'm going to go ahead and install my bipod just to make the rest of this build a little bit easier for me. I'm going to turn this over, make it a little easier for me to do what I got to do and for you to see what you need to see. I'm going to stick this kind of towards the front there. It's got a little thumb screw on there. Alright, so that is set up. There you have it. I dig it. I really dig it. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do is install my red dot. I'm just going to kind of sit it on here and look through it and get an idea of where I need it to be in order for me to see. I kind of feel like I'm going to need this in the extended position. Let me just kind of I think that's where I'm going to need it as far as the buttstock goes for standard benchtop shooting. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on just so I have a visual while I'm trying to set this up. Okay. I think I'm going to need it right kind of almost in the middle. About right there I think is going to work for me. Alright, we got that red dot installed. So there she is. Finished product. That is not your standard looking Ruger 1022, but it is in fact a Ruger 1022. Pretty sharp looking. Alright guys, so that's going to be a wrap on this build. It was pretty easy. I wasn't really sure what I was getting into because I've never actually messed with one of these kits before. But like I said, you know, once I read the instructions a little bit and kind of used a little bit of common sense, it was not very difficult at all. This thing is pretty slick. I do like the folding stock. You know, it's got the, you can extend it to wherever you want it. It seems like kind of in the middle works best for me. Plus, you can fold it up and it will lock down like that. To get it back out, you got to just press that button. And there you go, you're ready to go. I added the front bipod, the Vortex crossfire, red dot, and you know, that extended 25 round magazine. This is going to be a fun little plinker out at the range, and it'll be a good little squirrel getter. You know, I'm not going to be afraid to take this out and get it all, you know, beat up. Unlike that nice, pretty stainless one in that brand new largemouth bass carved stock. That was my squirrel gun. Now I don't want to get it messed up. It's too pretty. So I had to build this rugged, durable, wood-going machine. Hope y'all enjoyed the video, and hopefully maybe this helped y'all out a little bit. I'm not going to lie, I did go online and do a little bit of research myself prior to building this. And that, along with looking at the instructions, it was a very easy build. Now I just need to get this down to the range, get that sighted in, and have a little fun. Thank y'all for watching. We'll see y'all in the next video. Don't look that bad for 50 yards with a red dot. Them stragglers was freehand. I'm good with it. That'll get a squirrel.